Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy Fat Gaming, and today is the anniversary of Titanic. It's April 14th, or, well, for where I am. So, I'm going to do a little Titanic special, and we're looking at a few questions that you guys might have, and I'd just like to answer. So, this is pretty much the sequence. So, first, look out Frederick Fleet saw the iceberg ahead. So he rang the bell 3 times, which is what you call if there's an iceberg. So now that they've heard the ring that something is right ahead and they can see an iceberg, First Officer William Murdoch orders hard to starboard. So Robert Hitchens, the quartermaster in the wheelhouse, turns hard to starboard. But what is hard to starboard, you might be wondering? So hard to starboard is turning hard to starboard. But what's that mean? So starboard is right. And you're probably thinking, and you've watched the movie, the iceberg's right. Why would you be turning into the iceberg? But it actually means turn the rudder starboard. Hard to starboard. So imagine there's the rudder of the Titanic is turning starboard, so right. And when the water pushes against that, that's going to push the ship left, which is to evade the iceberg, which is what they did. Then William Murdoch went to the telegraph, pulled it back to full astern, and what astern means is backwards. And so what an engine telegraph is it's basically like a phone that goes to the engine room, and it says what the order is, and there's this little red line on it, and that will move to the same position that the big one is, and that will mean that the engine have received the order, and they are doing it as well. So now they had to stop the engines because I have never driven a car because obviously too young, but I'd imagine that to stop, when you're going really fast and you want to go backwards, you stop then go backwards. So the same with the ship is. So they have to go full stop the engines, wait until the pressure is high enough. So because they had to stop the engines and close the dampers. And because think of this, you don't want your iPad to charge, but you have the charger in, so you have to pull out the charger if you want it to stop charging. So all this steam from the boilers are still sort of charging the reciprocating engines, which need steam. So they had to close the dampers, and the dampers are like the little furnaces, so they have to close the furnaces in order to stop the steam flow coming in so that they can stop it moving. Then, when they have the steam pressure high enough that they can start going backwards, they go full astern. So if you sort of want to see this in action, make sure to check out the 1997 Titanic movie. That has a really good sequence. So now they've started the engines going astern. So helm's hard over. So this one's just a bit tricky and it's hard to understand, but the First Officer William Murdoch says, "Is the helm hard over?" And what that means, so hard over means the ship's pretty much turned to its, because if something turns, it will eventually just go into a circle. So they have sort of like a maximum safety for it to go before it starts going. So hard over sort of means that have we turned as much as we can? So you keep turning the wheel until there's a certain point you stop, because then the rudder has finished. The rudder has like a turning position. Like here, I'll try and draw it. So this is the rudder, and this is where it stops on each side. So this is P for port and S for starboard. It's going to keep turning this way until it reaches here. And once it reaches this area, then it's become hard over. And oh gosh, I'm really bad at drawing with a mouse. That looks like a scribble because it pretty much is. But yeah, so this rudder is now completely to the right, and it can't turn anymore, because if it would probably start cracking and then it would fall off, which is pretty bad. Yeah, so the helm is hard over, and that means basically you can't keep turning, because then you would break the rudder. It's done. There's no more turning. Now you have to wait. So they did it a bit like they found the iceberg pretty late, and I'll give you the reasoning for that. So they switched the lookouts, and they forgot to turn in the key for the binoculars. So you need a key for a safe, and if you don't have the key, you can't open the safe, and they couldn't get the binoculars. So they couldn't see it. Plus, it was clear waters, which, calm waters. I'll try and explain that to you. So, here's our iceberg, and this is our water. When it hits an iceberg, when water hits something, it starts sploshing around in that. So it's gonna make all of that when it's sort of bigger currents. But since it but since it's more calm, it's not really gonna splash along it, so they can't see the splashing against the iceberg, so they can't see the iceberg, which is a big problem. And then they didn't have the binoculars, so they saw it pretty late. Oh, you can erase that. So yeah, that's finding the iceberg. So they keep turning, and they almost made it. And it's actually predicted that if they went straight on, so hold on, boom, boom, and this is the iceberg, and just went chop, it wouldn't have gotten as much damage, and it wouldn't have sunk, rather than turning. And because look at this would have done majority of the damage here, and you don't really have a boiler room in the front of the bow. It would have mostly been just cabins and all that. But when the iceberg's over here and it hits here, it's going to slice all that up, and it's going to keep going that way. And you'll probably watch the movie and see, why did they say harder port at the end? Well, there's a reason for that. Because, here, let's do some more drawings. Here's the Titanic. Oops, I did that very wrong. Man. So, okay, it doesn't really matter. Let's just draw our iceberg first. So here's our iceberg, and the Titanic is going this way. Now, it's gonna keep turning because it's got its rudder going this way, so it's gonna push it away from the iceberg. And that means eventually, while this is going that way, this is going to come up. And to reduce damage, they didn't want it to just swing up and then hit the iceberg, like if it just went let me try to imagine this. Boom, and hit the iceberg again, because that would be even more damage. Holy cow, it looks very scary. So, now harder port, if you remember harder starboard, is turning the rudder to starboard. So we got our rudder, and last time we turned it that way. Now they're turning it port, so when the water hits it, it's gonna push it starboard. So they're turning it hard to starboard, or hard to starboard. So yes, and that is the sequence of Titanic hitting the iceberg. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, that was it, and my terrible drawings. Yep, that's it for the special of Titanic. I don't know, I might come up with an idea tomorrow or later today, and I'll make one. So, let me just give you some facts. So, Titanic hit the iceberg at 11:40 a.m. The lights and power went out at 2:18 a.m. Wait, no, whoops. I'll just yoink and write a P in there. it was PM. It sunk at 2:18 a.m. the 15th of April, and this was 14th of April. So yeah. So 2:18 is when the lights went out. Then I'm pretty sure it sunk at 2:20 a.m. Because a lot of the watches that they found of the dead bodies were at 2:20 a.m. So it's pretty scary to think that, man, I really just want to get rid of all of this. Is it like a complete just eradicate everything? Maybe. Oopsies, that's not good. Uh-oh. Whoopsies. I can just change the color. Yeah. It actually removes a lot of the stuff. So, you can think, I have this thing I'm talking about and I forget. So, this is the Titanic. This is the stern. Boom, boom, funnel, blah, blah, blah. Now, water's like, here. It's going up, and then so the lights go out at 2:18. So it goes out at 2:18, and as you know, the lights went out. So they had, I'm pretty sure, mechanical failures. They're trying to fix it, and it blew. That's from the movie. I don't really have much intel about that, but maybe it just sunk. I don't know. It might have been like here, and then water just came in. Now it's gone. Anyway, 2:18 and the lights are out. Then about, 30 seconds later, she breaks, and now she's in the water. Well, she always was, but now the full stern. And then, just 2 minutes after, she pulls up. Now, I just want to try something, and if we do this, and then we go black, so she's pulled up. And now she's, like this. And then in astonishingly 2 minutes, that has gone down. And probably you're like, what? How would this gigantic stern go down in 2 minutes? But remember, the Titanic has so much water in it after the past 1 hour and 50 minutes of sinking. Around that time, so it's got a lot of water that's pulling it down, and now it's got a lot of it. Now that it's cracked, there's all that more area for the water to easily come in. It's not got to steadily go through all the rooms and that, and then make their way up. There's just this huge crack. They can just go boom, boom, and it actually starts with a list. Yeah, it actually starts listing to starboard. No, it's port. It starts listening to port, if you look at the bow's perspective. And then it just goes up and it sinks. So yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.